Hey guys, welcome to the Road to $1 Million Agency podcast. My name is Stevie Yee. I am your host today with a great friend of mine as our guest, Mr. Albert Lau, president of FFL Elite. Albert, what up, bro? How are you, man?
Hey, appreciate you having me on because like all the content you put out is like gold. Like I really enjoy watching all your stuff. Like you and I get a chance to talk on a regular basis, daily as we were just talking about.
Right.
But the thing is that like when I watch the content that you put out and the great guests that you have and the great training that you guys put out, I'm always like, man, this guy's doing his thing, and I'm just so happy for you, happy for your growth, and happy to have an opportunity to be able to give back a little bit, whatever I have.
Dude, and trust me, you have plenty. Your insurance expertise is a lot more than most people that I know in this industry. So we'll definitely say that. But the best part about it too is Albert and I are like two of the very few Asian guys in the company. So we get mistaken for each other all the time.
all the time.
Like, great training, Albert. Hey, thanks, bro. Yeah, man, FFL Elite is great. But
do you think people are watching us right now and they're relating this to this?
Yeah, they're like we need the name bars on the bottom. Which Asian is talking right now? But anyways, hey, so let's talk about building a business to $1 million agency. I mean, you came from you had an insurance background, and you obviously found something that was way better, and you took advantage of the opportunity, man. Like, how can you share with people that are currently watching this right now where you were? I mean, how long were you at the previous company that you were at?
Well, I was with the previous company that was captive. We were there for a little bit over 11 years.
What was your volume at the max? Like your biggest month volume wise?
I think like 90,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you probably did what? 3 months in, right? You went VP, something crazy.
Yeah.
Blew that out.
Well, the crazy part is like, it's not like I've gotten that much better. Like obviously we're trying to improve every single day, and we're trying to add to, our repertoire and continue to learn and continue to put in work. And, we got to fall in love with the process, but it's not like I've gotten substantially better from those 11 years to my 3.5 years here. It's not like I've gotten 10 times better. It's just the platform makes such a huge, tremendous difference, right?
Right. So definitely the platform to allow you to be able to grow, $1 million plus business. So, your biggest month in, 11 years, 12 years was 90 grand. You come here, you do 150 in 3 months, and then you're at $1 million, a few years in. Can you talk about what are some of the things that you have that allowed you to get to $1 million pretty quickly here at Family First Life?
I wouldn't even say it's that quickly though, because if you look at the amount of success that everyone's having at FFL, like there's just some crazy growth going on here. So the platform works, and the platform is very agent friendly, and then also very builder friendly. So for people that want to build an agency, there's all these misnomers out there. People talk about you can only produce at FFL. You can be a huge producer because there's leads, but you can't really build a team. And then there's other people. I mean, there's other misconceptions where people say you can only build, but you can't really like be a producer. I don't know what all the silly gossip is out there, or the silly rumors, but yeah, you can definitely build here because it gives with the platform, with the leads. Number one, that's first and foremost, because even if we're focusing on building, if you don't have leads, your people can't make money.
Right.
And if your people can't make money, you can't effectively build a team. You can't effectively hire people, because the whole point of us bringing people in is to put them in a better position, to allow them to succeed and allow them to be willing to work, to be able to have the success that they're willing to work for. So it's not a guaranteed thing either. It's not a slam dunk for everybody. The thing is, if you want to come in, if you're willing to follow the system, buy your leads, go to work, help people, you'll make money, you'll grow.
Right. The other thing that I found out really quickly too about what we do here at Family First Life compared to a lot of these other IMOs, they don't teach them how to be business owners. Like we've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, hey, it's weird that you guys have staff. And I'm like, really? It's almost like normal for us to have staff. What do you mean? And they're like, well, at our company, they didn't want you to have your own employees. Like they try to do everything for you. And I'm like, well, here we're very independent. We have our own. Like Albert had his own contracting team. He has his own recruiters. He has his own social media person, his own, audio, video guys, like phenomenal. Right. Talk about how that's the culture here too, where you run your own business like it's your own shop.
Right. Well, yeah, I didn't fully address your previous question, which is how did I get to this point? I have great people around me. and I have great staff.
Right.
And they just make me look good. I mean, I'm just taking all this credit for no reason. I'm kidding. I mean, I try not to take any credit because I recognize that I'm humbled knowing that with this platform that Sean built here at FFL, with all the other partners that we have, other VPs and board members, people like yourself and, Andrew Taylor and Jack Yu and all these other guys that, we can reach out to with a phone call, and they're all available. You guys all help. We all help you with the agents that come in and just, because they're appreciative and they're grateful for this opportunity. We all work together as a team, and it's not only profitable, but it's also enjoyable.
Right.
So, I mean, as far as us building a staff, as far as us, running this like a real business, I mean, that's kind of also the thing at our last company. A lot of other IMOs, they try to do everything for you, right?
Right.
So then they part of the reason is that they handle all the contracting, the leads, and they basically do all that. But when I look back at it, it's also like they just did it. They didn't want to give you very much control because they want to keep you under their control. So,
right.
Like at my last company, they did everything, all the contracting, they set you up for licensing. You have to go through all their vendors, and, you had very little autonomy with it.
Right.
Because they wanted you to have all the liabilities of being a business owner, but none of the perks, so they still treated you like an employee. Like, you have to be in at a certain time. You got to come these days, or you don't get your quote unquote free leads, which were questionable at the very best.
Right.
So all these things is designed to control you. So the thing is, when people come in, they say, I want to be my own boss. I want to be self-employed. I want to be a business owner. I want to be all these things. The thing is, you also have to realize it comes with responsibility. Like a lot of times people just want to take the good without the bad, and you can't realistically do that. Not just even here at FFL, but in life.
Right.
If you want to be the boss, you got to pay the cost. Like it really is a true statement.
Right. So how many employees do you have? What does it look like to, staff wise at $1 million? What is a month, $1 million a month? What does your staff look like?
Well, I have 3 at the moment. So I have a paid advertiser for my marketing and recruiting. I have my head of media productions, and he does all my social media stuff, and he's great, Yoel. And then I have Joanne, who handles my contracting, which has thankfully gotten a lot easier with HCMS and all the continued improvements that FFL continues to contribute, right? So having that integrity deal has definitely helped us with building our platform.
Right.
But Joanne helps me with the contracting. She helps me with my recruiting. So basically the main reason why I wanted to get staff too, because I don't want to worry about all that stuff. Like the social media stuff, yeah, we'll eventually figure it out. But then instead of spending all my time, I'm not a social media guy. Right. I'm not a media guy. And instead of spending all my time learning, which I'm sure we ultimately would, but
it's just
that's not my job. We're here to build. We're here to help people out. So if I have staff, if I have really good staff that I can trust, and then like a lot of times they'll come at the beginning, they used to come to me and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm just like, look, I trust you guys. This is your guys' department, respective departments. You guys handle it. If there's anything that needs oversight or anything else that goes beyond what we represent, then I'll notice it and I'll let you know anyway. But until then, take ownership over it because I trust you guys.
Right.
And then if I do all that, then it allows them to, number one, be good at what they do. Because you can't like look over their shoulder the entire time and hover over them and then expect them to do well. And then, I mean, it's the same thing with agents. You can't baby them the entire time and expect them to be independent later on.
Right.
So, if I do all that, then it frees up my time to be able to talk to agents more often, to spend time with the people that I need to spend time with, to help them get to the next level. And, just that's ultimately what I want to do. Free up my time so I can spend as much time talking to agents all day long.
Right. Your staff is supposed to make your life easier so you can do what you do best.
Correct.
Right. So let's dive into, for me, I got stuck at a level for me, it was pre-VP. I was stuck at like senior sales manager for a very, very long time. And I feel like everybody hits their own walls, right? What was that number for you, and how did you get out of that plateau?
Yeah, I think I was stuck around 500,000 for a little bit, between the 500, 600,000 range. And funny, we were just talking about this, but honestly, the difference, I hired staff.
Right.
Because, I was an idiot. I was still doing contracting by myself.
Right.
And which wasn't hard. And it wasn't that time consuming, but the thing is, it's another thing for you to mentally manage.
Right.
So then like when you're in the middle of something and then someone calls you for this, and then you have to follow up on this, and you have to track this down, you have to look up these emails. I mean, I don't regret doing it because I learned a lot about it. So I was able to train Joanne, and be able to help her out. But, when I took that off my plate, all of a sudden I was like, I have so much more free time to just think about my business and focus on my business. And then when I hired my social media guy, because for the longest time I wasn't that great at social media. I mean, I had ideas, but I'm kind of like, it's really time consuming process.
Yeah.
And then for me to put out any good content, I mean, like I wasn't
Creative
to do that because I can't be behind the camera and then go and edit all this stuff and still run an agency. So having Yoel and Joanne just definitely helped out a ton. And that's when I was able to make the jump. So when I did that, it was a little bit scary because now I'm like paying people full-time salaries, right? I have full-time staff, and back then I was still, when you're at the $300,000 to $500,000 a month mark, this. I mean, it seems like you're making a lot of money, but you're not making that much money after the overhead, right?
Right.
Especially if you give out high comp, which I know we
all do, right?
We value doing that because we definitely want to put our people in best position to win. But when it comes to when it came to having full-time staff, then you start thinking like, where's this money coming from, and how am I going to be able to maintain this? So it was a little bit scary in that respect. But I always knew in the back of my head, there's nothing to worry about here at FFL, because even though I personally don't run a lot of appointments, the thing is, if it ever came to the point where I ran out of money, I need to have money to pay my payroll or to pay whatever bills, whatever expenses, I can just go out and buy a bunch of leads and go run appointments, and I'll make money. That's
the best part, man, is, when I looked at, kind of like I just told you, I was stuck as senior sales manager for a long time. And I was so like anti-hiring staff because I was like, dude, at the time I was like 29, 30. I was like, dude, you're going to teach me about social media? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to teach me how to, recruit. Like, I know how to recruit. You're going to teach me how to, and then someone brought it up to me. He's like, it's not that you can't do it. It's just that, kind of like you said, the creative energy, the mental drainage of like, I need to work with this agent, but also create the content and film the content and edit the content and then post the content. It was like, dude, let me just work with the agents because that's when we get paid really well. Yep. The moment I hired my first employee, we went VP that month. We hired a second employee, we went to 300. We hired a third employee, we went EVP. And I was like, all right, I think there's a sign. You get stuck, hire an employee. You know what I mean? And it just worked really well for us.
Right. You know what's funny is like when I look after I started growing faster at that point after I had staff, I started to ask myself, I'm like, why did I wait so long to do this?
Right.
And it's not because I'm cheap, because I spend money.
Right.
I have no problem investing money into my business and into my agency. But when I looked at it, I'm like, I was just being immature because I was number one, I was being stubborn. It was my ego was getting in the way because I was thinking, oh, I'll figure out a way to do this myself. Mm-hmm. And then like kind of like what you were saying, like, if I hire staff, what if they're not good enough? Like, what are they going to teach me? What are they going to do here for me? Like, are they going to justify me paying them? But it's more, they've been more than worth it. And I'm trying to give them bonuses. I'm trying to make sure I reward them because like, I want them to continue to put out good work, because it really does help me run. And this is another thing, every time that I've invested, such as in anything, whether it's the Dream Center, which was always great to give back to that. But investing into the office, investing into the agency, like leads for agents that really need the help and they're brand new and they're putting in work, or now into staff. Every time I've invested, the thing is, you think like, oh, if I spend all this money, then what I'm going to do when I'm out of money? But the thing is, it always seems to come back tenfold. So as soon as you invest, I mean, your production starts going up, your volume starts going up, your income starts going up, and then it's like that. After that point, I was like, all right, now whenever I make more money, I'm just going to dump more right back in. I'm going to keep my expenses the same.
See, that's the thing with
personal living. Yeah.
But the being unemotional about investing is the hardest part because it's uncomfortable. Like, we have agents that write 30, 40, 50 grand a month, and they're like, I refuse to get staff, or I refuse to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, when you complain to me about your volume as an agency volume, I'm going to point directly to staff, because for me, that was the answer. For a lot of people that I interview and talk to about on this podcast, Albert, staff is like always the number one answer of how did you get out of your plateau? Staff. Mm-hmm. It's staff and talking to other agents that were ahead so they knew what to do. And I'm like, it's not anything personal wise. It's like being able to have help, because like you said, like we talked about earlier, running a real business is like, dude, can you imagine if we operated a multi-billion-dollar, company, and we do the accounting, we do the sales and marketing, we do the, sales and advertising? Like, there's no way. And we are a real business because we're going to be able to, package this thing together and be able to partner and sell to integrity. And it's like, well, why would we treat this any different? And that's where sometimes I feel like you have agents that write a lot of insurance and they think they're a businessman, but they're actually a high paid employee.
Right.
Until they have staff and passive income and they can make money when they're not actually selling, you don't got a real business, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So let's talk about developing leaders. So I feel like you can buy your way to VP. Like, let's say, me, you, and John back on. Let's just say the three of us here, you write 50, I write 50, John writes 50. We're VP agency. Cool, but it stops there because it's very hard to duplicate that, right? You've obviously had multiple VP legs, senior sales managers. You've replicated yourself into your agency. You have people that have their own staff. How did you develop leaders in your group?
I mean, obviously I can't take credit for it. The only thing is you give out high comp and you get out their way. I mean, you want to always be available for them. So the thing is, there's never anyone, and I challenge anyone on my team, if you call me and I don't pick up, I mean, if I'm in a meeting or I'm traveling or something, I'll get back to you. But the thing is, I'm always going to be available for my guys. So the thing is, my philosophy might not be the same as my downline guys, and maybe I need to get better at that because we look at some of these other teams and how quickly they're just pumping out VPs and pumping out senior sales managers. Like we have to be mature enough about this to reflect and recognize we're not doing everything we can. We're not a finished product, and we need to continue to get better. Right. However, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick with my philosophy and continue to just allow my guys to build their agency, not coming to have to be part of building mine. Right. So I want them to all do well. And then if they need guidance, they know I'm available. Then they know I'll give them my input. But the thing ultimately, they got to take ownership over it, and they need to do it themselves.
Right. So the new agent that's watching this, if they go, hey man, I want to be able to build what Albert has. I want to be able to have $1 million business within the next year or two. What are like 2 to 3 things you can give that agent to basically speed up that process so they can get to where you are?
Just keep getting on all the trainings because all this information is out there. Just me getting onto this podcast with you. I mean, the thing is, this training, watching all of your other trainings, I'm like, dude, if I just watched all this stuff, like I wouldn't even need to do anything else. Like I don't need to read any books. I don't need to go and ask a bunch of people. Like it's all given out freely. So just plug in all the resources around you. So the thing is, recognize what's out there. And Andrew Taylor always puts it the best. It's not his responsibility to teach you; it's your responsibility to learn.
Right.
And if you have the heart to want to learn and continue to improve your business, you will. But if you're waiting for someone to come and like take you by the hand and be like, "Hey, let me show you how to do this," like it's not realistic for anyone to be able to take all other people and say, "Hey, I'm gonna take you all under my wing, and we're all gonna learn the same things, and we're all gonna get to that same level." Like everyone has their own progression, and everyone has their own mindset of how they want to build something. The second thing is the thing that we talked about the most: hiring good staff. And fortunately for me, I've lucked out, and I haven't had to hire a bunch of staff and fire them, because Sean always talks about when you hire staff, if they don't produce results, you got to fire them quickly. The thing is, there'll be a drain on not only your finances, but there'll be a drain on your mental energy.
Correct.
Because you'll still have to continue to do what you hired them to do, and they're not effective at it. But you still, if it's going to be frustrating because you have to keep cycling through. And I've been very blessed and fortunate because my guys have been great. So like I'm at the point where I'm just like kind of continue to scale, and then when it becomes overwhelming for them because their responsibilities continue to mount as we continue to grow in size and in volume, then I'll just hire more staff and they'll manage that department. So I'm fortunate to have people that I can trust. And then just empower your people and just focus on whatever everyone else is out there is talking about.
Right. I love that, man. As we wrap this up, dude, like what was, in terms of life change, right? What was life like prior to Family First Life, and what's life like now at $1 million a month? Like, not necessarily about the money, right? But like, what are you allowed to have and do and be able to give back? Like you talked about Dream Center. Like I've never given that much money in my life.
Me neither.
But it's like to be able to say that we can is pretty cool. So like, what is it for you, man? Like what is it like for you, life prior to FFL and where you are now?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely not about the money because, like money's great and all. And, but, I grew up without money. I've been broke as a college student, as a law school student. I've been in debt. I've made some money, I've lost some money, and ultimately I realized that doesn't drive me. That doesn't make me happy. That doesn't make me go. Right. But, but I'm not saying money's not important, because with money, it gives you the freedom to be able to make a bunch of choices that you normally wouldn't have the opportunity to make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so getting to this level, I mean, it's changed my life in a little bit, in that, number one, I have more experience to be able to, now I have my own point of identification where I know I can get someone to this level, because
Right.
if I never hit 1 million before, how am I going to teach someone to do it?
Right.
And then now we're in this position that we're blessed to be able to give back and be able to help others do it. And that's the main thing that I'm the most thrilled about and most excited for the future, because it's not about how much I can make or how much I can do. It's how much I can help other guys that want it. And that's the key operative, part of it.
Right.
How many people I can help get to that point too. So that's what I'm gonna be really thrilled when I can get people to $1 million, as opposed to just whatever we've done so far, which is nothing.
Right. That's the best part, man. I remember hearing a quote. They said, success is when you can do it by yourself, and the significance is when you can help others achieve where you are. And I think that's where you're going, man. You got really good guys in your group. I mean, dude, I tell people all the time, it's like, if I had to, possibly start all over again, most likely be probably working with you, man. Like, we get along. And that's the last thing I want to talk about is, like, here at Family First Life, you get people that are not even in your financial, quote unquote, upline, downline, whatever you want to call, that you have no financial interest in me. But like, when I was struggling, when I was in my darkest moments building this business, and I was stuck as senior sales manager, like, for everybody watching this call, is like, Albert was the guy that pulled me aside and was like, dude, you're too talented to not be a VP. Like, you need to get in the group, like, now. And like, we went to dinner, right? Mm-hmm. And you sat down and you're like, hey, let me break it down to you how I did it. This is how I think you should do it. And like, dude, like, it just clicked. And for me, it's like, that's the value here at Family First Life. Like, yeah, we might not be in the same financial line, but we're all on the same team. We're Team FFL and we're Team Sean Mike. You know what I mean? So Albert, thank you for everything you've done for me and my group, man. We really appreciate you. Thank you for taking time out your day to be able to hop on and share some ideas with us. Like, the training here at Family First Life is free. You got to almost purposely not want to grow by not watching it, to like purposely like ignore it, while other companies charge hundreds of dollars for what you just gave us in content. So Albert, thank you so much, brother. I owe you dinner the next time I'm out in LA or you're out in Vegas. So I appreciate you for everything you do, man. Thank you so much.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, got it, dude. Definitely.
Okay. Well, I mean, because you kind of brought it up about that conversation we had when we went out to dinner, and I was telling you need to get to the next level. The thing is, ultimately, I can't take any credit for that, because it was all you. But also, if you want help from other people, the thing is, you got to get your butt in motion too. You got to start doing something for people to want to help you. And then you also have to like reach out and be accountable yourself. So the thing is, like, if you've never asked me for any help, if you and I didn't talk, I'm not gonna be like, oh, hey, here's another Asian guy. Let me go put my arm around this guy and let's start talking to him. I'm like,
right.
So, you hear that sometimes from people within the company. They're just like, oh, I don't get any help. They don't help me. They don't help me. This person doesn't help me. I don't get any help from corporate. I don't get help from Sean. I don't get help. What it's like, also, like, how much are you putting yourself out there? Like, I don't reach out to Sean a ton. So like, also don't expect him to like help me, to reach out to me either, because, and it's not anything to do with, I understand the tremendous value that he has, but I understand how busy he is running a company. And also there's a lot, I'm also still kind of stubborn in certain ways, and I got to figure things out myself. So, for anyone that's out there watching, if you guys want to grow your agency, you want to receive help, you got to first start taking the actions yourself. And then you got to reach out to the people that are in a position to want to help you and have a reason to help you, or, or if they see value in what you're doing. So, you got to contribute to this whole thing too. If you want to get poured into, you got to pour back in as well.
You got to be a part of the puzzle, like if you want to grow and not everybody has an upline they want to work with, and that's perfectly fine, but you're here.
Yep.
So like, you can find someone that's willing to help you. It doesn't have to be on the same team. You just got to ask, you know what I mean?
Well, you have uplines of uplines. Like,
right. And you even have sidelines too. Like I was just talking to somebody the other day. I've picked up more information in the last 3 months working in the Vegas office from guys like Josh and Alondra and Zach Tradowski. They're not even in my financial line, dude, but I've learned so much from them, and they've helped grow the business. And see, that's, and like when I say that, like when I hit the wall with senior sales manager and I reached out to you, the other thing is, like, when people give you advice, you got to actually apply it.
Yep.
You're like, can you imagine, Albert, how many people come up to you and go, hey man, how do I go VP? And then you give them the resources and the knowledge to go VP, and they do nothing with it.
There's no incentive to want to help them ever again. But the thing
Right.
is, they don't. Either one, they're not going to take the action, or they don't value what you have to say anyway. And then
Right.
there's the people that don't participate in anything and they expect to get help. It's like, no, we're all in this thing together.
Right.
So if you want help, let's start seeing what you can do to contribute to this whole solution too.
Yes, sir. So, hey, man, I appreciate you, bro. Seriously, thank you for everything, man. And if there's any way I can return the favor, anything I can do for you and your group, you let me know. I'm all
Absolutely.
in. So, thank you, Albert. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you too.